This program is proudly brought to you by the Peel Dance Bar, corner of Peel and Wellington Streets, Collingwood.
G'day, welcome to Blah Blah Blah. It's Monday night and it's a bit strange because Drew and Quentin, we've been out collecting a bunch of weird travellers and tourists and people who've just moved to Melbourne because we want to talk about, I don't know, we were going to talk about Melbourne and we got talking about tourism and travellers and there's this man we're going to go to shortly, but he mentioned very much that we're like straight by day and, you know, queer by night is what the tourists tend to want to do when they come to Australia and to Melbourne. So what we want to do is look at Melbourne, look at Australia, look at the world and try to figure out why we live here and why would you want to come here and spend your incredibly hard-earned pink dollar or lavender dollar, or why the hell do we get out of here? Anyway, I'm Graeme and we're going to go right over here to Bruce McNicol, who made that observation. Now Bruce is rich. Bruce owns a couple of resorts. Bruce does not sponsor Bent TV and we're going to embarrass you on national-wide television and we're not going to Turtle Cove, your one of your resorts up in Cairns. Isn't that right, Bruce?
That's right. Wonderful place.
That's his ad. We want money from now on. Now next to Bruce we picked up some little dyke called Donna. Now Donna flew in from Edinburgh.
That's right.
And then how long were you in Scotland for?
9 years.
9 years. Before that you were in Germany.
Germany.
Isn't she quite spoken? Nice little lesbian. She actually works in another gay venue that doesn't give us money either, so we're not talking about that place either, let me tell you right now. And then we found Megan. Now, Megan's a bit of a hippie, Lismore, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right.
A little hippie from the Byron way. Welcome down to beautiful Melbourne.
Thank you.
Then we picked up David. Now, David, you're from Ireland.
That's correct.
And New Zealand as well?
Yep.
Yeah, and he was a trolley dolly. Actually, I'm surrounded by 2 trolley dollies, ex-trolley dollies, you know, Qantas air stewards, and you were one for how long?
10 and a half years.
So 10 and a half years you slept around the world. And little Robbie, the Rice Queen. How many years were you, well, he is a Rice Queen, let's be quite honest. How many years were you a trolley dolly for?
Close to a year.
A year, and then the big accident at Bangkok airport and you got paid out?
Most of us got paid out, so Thai people would take over our job. But it's much cheaper for them to work.
Yes, but at least you got paid belonging to a union, that's the main thing.
That's right.
So Robbie's from Sydney, it shows, so you'll understand how devotees of knowledge soon. Derek. Now, you're an American?
Yes.
From Illinois?
From Illinois.
And we're going to talk about what an American's doing in Australia and what you think of this scene.
Okay.
And then we've got this other weirdo over the back here called Frank, and you can tell he's from South Australia, doesn't it, show? He's got that look. He's got a bit of a radical T-shirt on. We'll come back to you, Drew. I forgot you were down here on the floor in your usual place. Drew had a big weekend as usual. You were at the Peel, I thought. So you one stage.
I love the Peel.
Yes, we do.
Aren't we? We're learning our lines.
I didn't know that. Thanks, Tom and Buddy and Jonathan and everyone else. No violence, please. Michael, you're a very nice, quaint English boy.
Well, English and New Zealand. I've been trotting around the world for many years now. I lived in London for yonks, and unfortunately I lived in Auckland as well.
Yeah, so before they came straight from Crompton Street, Queer Street.
Oh yes, all of that area.
Then we've got Kelly over here, our little Kel's from Perth. Hello, you crossed the Nullarbor. It's great to see you, mate.
You're welcome.
So we're going to talk about Connie's in Perth. God, it's a shithole. Why? Okay, I don't mind it. And then we've got Quentin, who's our regular theorist. Now, and welcome back. Now, Bruce, I want to start with you, Bruce, because you've made a few comments. We're going to go to sex tourism later on, but you're a bit of an operator. Tell us what your thoughts are on Melbourne, the queer scene, the world, and you've got 30 seconds, go.
Well, I think Melbourne does a great job for its tourists. We've got many cultural events. We've got a lot of things that bring tourists here, and a lot of it really isn't appreciated. We need to let even more people know, although the Tourism Authority Victoria is doing a pretty good job with its jigsaw campaign and so forth. We have a multicultural diversity, although some people might disagree with me on this. I see wonderful meals, food. We live on the water. We use our water as much as we can. We perhaps haven't got as nice a waterways as Sydney has, but it's the place.
So what
to
you're
come.
saying, if we're rich like you, Bruce, if we're rich like you, we can have disposable income and enjoy the ruling class
You can go
aspects.
down and walk along outside our houses and enjoy the
Can we walk inside?
But don't knock on
skating.
the door and ask for
Can we
food.
steal?
We have lots of people coming and staying with a number of rich people.
So
through
stay at Bruce
hospitality
McNickol's house and
exchange.
steal. This is great. Now, you've got a poor little traveller next to you. What do you think about Bruce's concept? Why are you in Melbourne?
I'm in Melbourne because of the quality, quantity of life. I find it very comfortable here in Melbourne, being lesbian. I feel less closeted. It's more widespread. I can go anywhere, basically, and
So,
just be
it's
what I
in
am.
comparison with where?
In comparison with Edinburgh, definitely. Basically just a small triangle. You're talking about a pub, one club and one cafe. The rest is mixed, but you still get, it's mostly all straight, but here it's just great.
So
It's
do you
just
eat
like
at
this
the
feel.
fine queer restaurants that Bruce does in Melbourne?
No, there's none.
No.
No, in
Over
what
there.
you meant. In Edinburgh, there's none.
But like, do you go out and eat at the gay and dyke places here?
No, not really.
Why not?
No. One, I don't have time, but I don't think I would feel uncomfortable going to a straight restaurant. I mostly I do go to a lot of straight pubs, cafes, what have you, and I feel just really relaxed, and I can just.
I want to go back to
Really?
food. Bruce, do you eat at gay restaurants?
I certainly do. Both Adibi's one of my favourite restaurants. It's over in Sunshine.
Yes.
It's very inexpensive and it's got wonderful fresh
Hang on.
food.
They're not sponsoring us. Don't mention that name. We move straight on.
Yeah, that's
Now,
all
I
right.
want to keep on this side over here. Megan, Lismore, tropical fruits, great dance parties. And you were telling us before there's a new place in Lismore.
The Winsome, yeah. There's a permanent venue in Lismore, which is a small country town, but they've actually got a queer pub now. So you'll be driving through town and cross the bridge, and there's this big freedom flag hanging off the outside of the building. So it's pretty incredible. It's
So has that changed Lismore much?
yeah, for me it definitely did. Like having a permanent place to go every night of the week instead of like trying to. Like it's a fairly queer-friendly town, but going to straight venues and then sort of just being queer within there, it's a very different thing to actually just going to a queer venue and it's like, this is our space and
How
we're
big is
closing it.
Lismore?
Yeah, what's the population?
I think it's about 50,000,
Is it?
yeah.
So it's tiny.
But it's a provincial centre. It's an
Yeah.
important centre for the area.
Yeah, and it's got that beautiful Byron Bay just over the hill and that lovely little broken head or whatever it's
Yeah,
called.
broken
that
head
lovely
beach,
little
yeah.
sex
And
beach.
you know what happens to
On the
Byron
left hand
Bay?
side, you can fuck men. Sorry, no, I say that word. Men, I meant. Now, Ireland,
Yes.
Auckland, Trolley Dolly, you travelled the world. Why are you living in Melbourne, David?
Melbourne, because Belfast, basically back home in Ireland, doesn't have a gay scene. We had sort of one underground club, two pubs which were sort of spoken about in corridors, but anything that was ever found to be gay usually got blown up, destroyed.
Yes. Oh, sorry.
Unless it happened in the barracks.
Well, even then, it's
So were both the Catholics and the Protestants blowing up the gay bars?
it was whoever found them.
Fantastic.
The only thing that was really going was the student union at Queen's Uni, and even then you really took.
They
it
even
off
had
the
it
heads.
at Queen's Uni.
Well, Queen's University in Belfast. They had
The
a
entire
Queen's
place
Union.
for Queens.
Yeah, like the student union at Queen's Uni. So
What kind of degree?
it doesn't.
No, it wasn't a gay university, you dag. You are so English. You can tell you've walked down Crompton Street, can't you, mate? You
You
really can.
usually find most people back home in Belfast, especially travel outside Belfast for any sort of gay.
Which is something I want to come back to later on in the next segment, which Bruce mentioned about people going, travelling, gay people,
Yeah.
and incomes and so forth. Now, Rice Queen, we'll come back to you later because you're from Sydney. But why, we'll start now. Why did you come to Melbourne? Why are you in Melbourne?
I think Sydney's way of life is just puffed up to be something that it's simply not. It's supposed to be glamorous and fast and easygoing, but it's just so tiring that when I came to Melbourne, I felt it so relaxing. The city skyline, even though it's small, it's beautiful. I've been to many countries around the world. Name a country, I've been there. Not once, but 20, 30, up to close to 40 times.
I think the real story is that Robbie was chucked out at midnight shift too many times.
But do they let you off the plane?
Yeah.
I mean, airports are wonderful places to go, but do you actually get out of the airport?
Yeah, you really do. For example, if I go to Frankfurt in Germany, I go via Singapore or Thailand,
Oh, okay.
and I'm in Singapore or Thailand for up to 5 days.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh,
I had many friends in Singapore, many friends around the world. And when you go to Frankfurt, you're actually in Frankfurt for 4.5, nearly 5 days again.
Yeah, that's young.
So when people say, oh, you only get to see the airport, think again. You do get to see a lot of the areas.
That was an advertisement for an airline that doesn't sponsor us.
No.
Derek, let's talk about you and Americans.
Yeah.
Talk about Illinois, the queer scene in Illinois.
Well, where I live, it's 3 hours from Chicago, and it's a small country town, so it doesn't exist, the queer scene. So when I go back home, I'm straight.
So you'll be like done. What was that guy that was done over on the fence?
Shepherd.
Matthew Shepherd.
Oh yeah, it's not quite that bad.
Do you have a
It's
church
pretty
there?
bad.
But you got a few churches there.
Oh, plenty of churches.
Yeah.
We love
Yeah.
churches.
It's because he needs to
So,
confess.
what do you like about Melbourne? Or what do you hate about Melbourne?
Well, I really do like it a lot here. It's just a very much more liberal place than the States as a whole. It's-
Correct. Absolutely true.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Unless you're in New York, San Fran, or West Hollywood, and
Yeah.
LA, what else is there?
Yeah.
Florida. Boston. Yeah, the Boston gay scene's okay.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't really explored very many gay scenes at home because where I live, there's no gay scene, of course, and I've gone to uni near LA for the last 2 years, and it's just kind of this inbred little community where everyone's stuck there because it's a small university. And I came here just kind of to be a more worldly person.
Imagine coming to Melbourne to be more worldly.
No,
Isn't
but
that frightening?
I have a tendency to go as far away as I can.
Listen, we're getting out of here. We're being wound up, okay? So we're going to come back and meet the rest of the guests. This is blah, blah, blah. It's Monday night. We'll be back to meet more of these losers that are travelling. See you soon. G'day. Welcome back to Blah Blah Blah. It's Monday night. We're at the Pill because we're always at the Pill and we love our sponsor, the Pill. But we were just hearing about Illinois, how fascinating America is.
Yeah.
And you come from a small town. Well, that fascinated me. I looked directly at Frank, who comes from even a smaller little pathetic town. Frank, you're from Adelaide. Yeah, been in for a swim in the river lately, have you, buddy?
Oh.
Been down and rooted a few zoo animals lately, have you, buddy?
Been at church.
We
Been at
won't
church.
do over Adelaide. Now, Frank, you're from Adelaide. You had a great time at the Mars Bar every night your entire life. Why are you in Melbourne?
Oh, well, I mean, you can't spend too much time at the Mars Bar, obviously. You've got to get out and do other things at some
You've
stage.
got to go up those stairs for starters.
Yeah, well, that's right. No, mainly work, actually. And all the people I was really hanging around with in Adelaide were straight people, which sort of limited the options I had of mixing in the queer community.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd come over here and get a fresh start.
Gotcha. Well, I want to talk to you in a minute about the dyke scene over there, with the dykes. We'll talk about that in a second. Now, tell us about London.
Oh, well, London was quite good for coming out in, actually, because we sort of end up going out every night of the week and doing things and meeting a hang of a lot of people and having a good time.
So where'd you hang out in London? Crompton Street or the other 50,000
It's everywhere.
pubs?
It's all over the city. It's just completely overloaded. It's a huge city. There's so many people. It's huge anonymity. But if you're just coming out, it's great for that. But
So, Michael, why are you here?
I didn't see that there was much of a future for me in London, actually. It's just dog eat dog, overcrowded and dirty.
It's not like
And
Sydney, really.
Yes, but we're not doing a Sydney slag. But we'll come back to that later. Keep going.
well, Sydney's a lot cleaner. Melbourne's a lot cleaner. It's a lot nicer. The weather's not quite so bad here. I do find with Melbourne, living here, it's got really cold winters. And then these heat wave summers. You go from cold to heat wave.
Oh, that's for in Melbourne. You can't help it.
It's
Now,
all in one day.
it's fabulous.
In London, you've never been able to touch each other in saunas and things until very
Yes.
recently, isn't that right?
Yes, but we'll
It
get
wasn't
back to your
anything like
sex
that.
stuff in a minute. No,
except for
guys,
Masters
that's
of
not
Apprentice.
I know where this is going to go. Kelly, don't
The
talk
Angel
over the
Tube.
women.
That's
Kelly,
me.
Oh, yeah.
you're from Perth.
Yes.
You had a great time at Connie's over the years.
Well,
Why
didn't
did you
you?
come to Melbourne? Sorry, I've had some great times at Connie's too. Thank you very much.
Why?
Yeah, why did you come to Melbourne, Kel?
Because it's bigger. And why not?
So it was to escape that small
Well,
town.
I've never been outside of Perth, so Melbourne would be like a great place to go.
Yeah, well, after Perth, it probably is really. Now, Quentin. This is Quentin. Quentin's travelled everywhere as well too. What do you think about Melbourne? I know you live here because you've been born and bred here, I assume.
Yeah, I was born here, but I've lived in Sydney, Adelaide, Santiago and Chile, spent a lot of time in Bombay.
Wow.
I've been to a few places, although I have not been a trolley dolly. I love Melbourne. Melbourne's great. You can get good coffee here for a start, which, except for Adelaide, I don't think you can get anywhere else in Australia. There's good markets, which again, except for Adelaide, Adelaide's got really good markets.
Yep.
But Sydney's stuffed its markets up, I reckon.
Well, there isn't. Well, is there Paddy's, the Glebe one? That's about it, really.
Yeah.
Rocks.
And Melbourne pretends it's a Mediterranean, city. Even in winter, people are sitting under the heaters out in the streets, and that street life is fantastic. It's really like Block Lane in the city is about as European like Madrid or something as you can get.
Yeah.
So I love Melbourne. I think it's great.
Okay, I want to talk about to the dykes. And this is where you come in too, Frank, about that because you're a token dyke.
In disguise.
Yeah, he is. We'll put him in a dress
Drag king.
later. In fact, why aren't you girls wearing dresses? You'll never
Dykes
get
don't wear
married.
And where's the lipstick?
Yeah, where's your
You
more
wear
ashlevel?
dress.
No, every time we've had women on lately, they've had beards.
Beards, exactly. I'm glad
It's
you
true,
chicks haven't got
stick-ons.
your beards. Now, Kelly, Kelly, shut up and let the women
Well,
talk.
Graham's a dyke.
Now, tell me about the dyke scene in Perth in comparison to here.
Oh, it's incestuous. It's pretty small. I mean, you're lucky if you get like a whole bunch of girls that will come into a girl night, and it never fills up at all. So it's pretty scary.
How do the cops treat you? Like venue owners and stuff like that? Is
Pretty
it,
good.
is it still illegal in WA? It's just become legal, hasn't it?
It's legal, but they have different age of consent laws.
Nine
What's the
criminal
age of
codes
consent
in this
then?
country.
40.
That Liberal government. But you mentioned before, and I lie. I don't think it was Kel's, but you both had the same position, Megan. That like you'll go, whether it be in Perth or in Lismore, and you'll be sitting around a table and you realise you've fucked the whole lot of them, really.
No, you meet
the
one
dykes.
person and that person's fucked the other lot.
So that's the problem with a small town, is it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like you go somewhere. And they were not my exact words. I have to
they
say.
were.
Jodie, if you're watching
heard
this. Anyway.
True, Jodie. It's absolutely true.
It is, totally.
Like you'll be sitting at a table and everyone will have dated everybody else, and it will all sort of start folding in on itself. And
Hang on, is that your sister, Jodie?
Oh, absolutely, yes. Yeah.
So this
How
is
do
your
you think I
sister's
know Megan?
girlfriend.
Well, sort of.
yeah.
That's right. You come from this totally gay family, don't
See,
you?
it
Frank?
is so inbred.
I know, inbred Adelaideans, it's in the water. I know, they're dykes, I know. Sorry, keep going.
I've totally lost what I was
No,
saying.
you're talking about the small town.
Yeah, and so you go somewhere and everybody knows everybody else's business, and you know this from Perth as well, that it's you've got an identity that is fairly fixed as well, because your behaviour is basically
You hang
prescribed
with a
by your
certain
social
group,
group.
and if you don't own a group, then
You're out.
you're
Yeah.
out.
You're
Yeah.
out of it.
So-
Now, is this the same the dyke scene elsewhere, like Germany or
In
Scotland?
Edinburgh, yeah. Well, because the gay triangle is very, very small. Basically, yeah, you know everybody, and if you were with somebody, they'd find out like the next day, you know, and then you realise, like I haven't, but you know, some people slept with anybody else, and everybody would know. But yeah, it's such a small scene.
Okay, you three women here, what do you think of the Melbourne gay scene? Now, you be careful because you work in one of the bars and you can lose your job in 2 seconds. But what do you lot think? I mean, what's the dyke scene like here?
Bigger.
Big dykes in Melbourne. What else? No, seriously.
Well, I was talking before about how the scene seems to have queered a lot over the past. Like, I lived in Melbourne 4 years ago, and I've just come back a couple of months ago, and the difference is phenomenal. You go to a club, and there are a lot more people there in general. Like, the scene seems to have grown a lot, and also the variety of people, the way that people are presenting themselves, is really different.
Straight people go as well, though.
Yeah.
Again, I know straight people that go.
So you think that's good or
to
bad
really nice.
with the queering of the scene? You think it's good that straights are coming?
Do you think it's a comfortable mix?
I don't find it comfortable. I think queering of anything is great because we're pushing people's boundaries and breaking things down. The issue that I have with it is the whole, you know, hi, how you doing? Will you come home with me? And by the way, this is my boyfriend, and he's expecting to play with both of us. And so, you know, those kind of issues start to challenge the idea of safety.
Yeah.
And the idea for me of going to a queer space where there's all lesbians there, and to just be able to just relax about this issue of, you know, am I going to have to deal with male sexuality tonight? And to have that actually push back into my face on the queer scene, I find that really hard.
So if Melbourne had a dyke bar, like we used to years ago, like the Kingston Hotel, a women's only place, it shows my age, doesn't it really, Drew, then that could be greatly superior and better.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, you, David, worked at most of the gay bars in this town, including this one.
Yes.
What about safety in the boys' world?
Safety is an issue too, especially when, and I can say this because it no longer exists, VMs was such a, I suppose, drug heaven.
Muscle Mary. Keep going, sorry, buddy.
Well, it was. It was created for that sort of down niche type, recovery type people
That was you last Saturday, I remember.
I didn't need
You
to
know,
go to VMs to recover.
Is it sort of like Studio 54 effect?
It was actually. Yeah, the times we used to go down to the storeroom and you'd see some straight guy bonking the old girl in the back toilet with half a dozen people looking over the top, all joining in, and
Wow.
you know, you were getting harassed just going out picking up glasses because they just saw you as, well, you're a piece of meat, you're working at a gay bar, you're available, you're coming home.
But that's international, that concept. That's just not Melbourne.
No, I didn't find it as much overseas. Even in Sydney, and yeah, okay, they sort of recognise your boundaries, but in Melbourne they tend to push your boundaries a lot more, depending on what sort of scene they think you belong to, be it leather, be it, you know, the A-team, so to speak, and it's it's something that they try to like to push.
Okay, I want to go to Quentin. You just listen to these comments. What do you think about that?
Well, I think, I mean, I don't go to a lot of these places in Melbourne. I sometimes say I go overseas more often than I cross the Yarra.
It's true too.
But like in Bombay and in Santiago, and I think that's one thing I want to bring in, because we've been talking about mainly English-speaking countries, including Australia. I think it's quite different. They're much smaller than, say, London or Madrid or European countries. But it is quite defined in a way. But then street life isn't defined. I mean, in South America, there's all sorts of things that can happen in the street, which is a bit like what you were talking about, where you're not really sure who's going to do what, where. And that can be a good thing. But like you were saying before, you're not sure really what you're getting into.
Yeah, but in some of the gay bars around Melbourne too, I've seen some of the gay guys get thrown out for harassing other customers that are there. And 50% of the time the customers weren't even gay, they shouldn't have been there if you want to put, you know, boundaries in.
When you
yes,
say
it's your
harassing,
space, or-
what tense was that? How?
Oh, they saw a cute guy and went up and started speaking to them, only to find out that guy was straight, and you know, you were violating his space, so you got thrown out.
Was that a gay bar or
Yeah.
a straight bar?
No, it was gay bar in Commercial Road.
But they weren't grabbing him or
No, but you know how
harassing in that
no.
sense. Just
They thought he was secured. They went up. They'd say that to them. The guy then felt, well, hey, you know, you're harassing me here.
When was this? How long ago?
No, we're not going to gossip about this.
It
Right?
still happens. It still happens in quite a few of the bars.
It's terrible.
Presumably the guy that made the complaint fitted the image more than the guy that was.
Yeah, but he wasn't even gay. That's the thing.
Yeah, but they
You
just
know, he was
want
there with
people
his
to
girlfriend.
It's a commercial venue on Commercial Road, so they want
Ooh,
to
that place.
have a look.
Is
at
that
what
why
you
it's
got.
called Commercial Road, huh?
Yes, it is. You're so Sydney and stupid. Now, you boys, you've heard this bit of stuff. What's happening in Melbourne? Have you noticed this stuff?
No.
No, I haven't. I was in Freakazoid a couple of weekends ago, and
They don't sponsor us either. Keep going.
We don't want their money in.
And I went up to a straight guy who I didn't know was straight and started, being a little flirtatious with him, and it wasn't that big of a problem, but
So the
it's
drug
probably
you're
improving.
okay. That's all right. Derek takes
that's so
it.
cute,
Oh, no,
isn't it?
I-
A little flirtatious.
But that's
Just
the
a little
same.
bit, yeah.
That's the same reason why I was questioning it, because I mean I'm not from Melbourne, so I'm just wondering, how come? Why?
Listen, we're going to.
It's going to be expected that that's going to happen anyway, because it's straight guy.
Shut up, we've got to go to a commercial break.
Sorry, sponsorship break. We'll be back, blah, 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 and then we're coming back to this side because we're going to talk about sex, sex and sex, Bruce McNickol's favourite subject, blah, 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 Monday night. We're at the Peel. See you soon. Bye. G'day, welcome back to blah, blah, blah. Would you shut up? This is television, for God's sake. You and your bloody theories, Quentin. Now, Dyke, go and finish what you were saying.
What I was saying was, straight guy going to gay venue. Well, it's going to be obvious that he's going to get hit upon. If he has a problem with it, like why go there? Of course, it's going to happen. Otherwise, he shouldn't be there.
So we actually should do a whole show on separatism. Obviously, the Laird just celebrated his 20th anniversary, and that's a boys-only bar. And obviously, women are saying they're in their own space. And obviously, David was saying, and I'm in absolute agreement, that Girl Bar's got the best vibe in the world, and that's why gay boys want to go there, because you're not going to get hit on. No, but we like them. They're okay. They've got good politics, Girl Bar.
It's
Tell
Kira,
independent
she's great.
chick, fabulous.
Really,
We like
really
you
good,
lot, Girl
Kira.
Bar. In fact, we're
Good
giving you a
work,
free plug. We like you so much.
Yeah, we like Kira.
Unlike where you were. But that's
The good thing about Girl Bar too is they don't mind so many gay guys coming because they know they're not going to hassle the women or give them a hard time either.
But that's why
See, I
the
prefer,
women come
like,
to our gay bars.
Going to guys'
gay bars.
places as well.
Okay.
Now, I want to get down to dirty Bruce McNicol. He runs this thing called Melbourne Wankers. He owns resorts. He's a sick old faggot. And I met him 25 years ago at the 5th National Homosexual Conference. You did that massage workshop, which was complete sex, Bruce McNicol.
Yes.
Now, what were you saying in the break about sex tours coming to Australia? How you make your money?
Well,
which
the,
Asians?
don't make money from it, but the Asians generally are making a lot of money now, a lot more than we Australians, and can afford to come down here fairly easily. And some of them are coming. Some Asian people are coming down here, certainly men, especially for sex and just for sex. So they want to go out every night. They want to find someone. They want to find people during the day. They just enjoy being with Australians and having sex, and all sorts of ages. They don't really care so much. The ageism thing is not there.
Which country are they coming from?
Star Hotel is a place where they're picking up people a lot more than most of the others. Which country? Oh, Malaysia. Many countries, even some Middle Eastern countries, they come here more. But who's making lots of money? Taiwan is a lot.
Well, you've
Some Japanese, not very many.
Well, you've excited little
Mainly
Robbie to
Thai.
rise, Quentin, who's devoid of a brain. But aren't you in a relationship, Robbie? I thought you
I'm
mentioned
not
that one.
going anywhere near what
What
he's
was
saying.
this whole thing
I'll get
about
into
Sydney
trouble.
too? Sydney's like a voluptuous prostitute. It shows her wares, and Melbourne's like a plain Jane that tries to make the most of what she's got. Yes, but at least we think down here. So sex tours and stuff like that.
Well, we could say sex tours. It used to be, that's what the name we gave to Australians going to Thailand. That's nothing to do with that. This is men from Thailand, from many of those, many Southeast Asian countries coming here, and Chinese now, just China from
Are
Hong
these the
Kong.
kind of people
anywhere.
that stay at one of your mini resorts in Cairns that won't sponsor us?
No. They stay here. The wonderful youth hostel facilities. We've got, 3 youth hostels in Victoria now, and there's a 4th one going to be built there, or in Melbourne specifically. Great facilities for these people. And
Do you know what I found fascinating getting the show together is that, and this is why there's more boys as usual story, is that there are boys venues you can stay, like the Star, like the Laird, like that guest house in Carlton and so forth. But where do the women stay when they come here? They don't stay in specific dyke-run places. They tend to mix more with the community.
there's a lot of bed and breakfasts throughout the country.
Yeah, throughout
For
the
women?
country.
Dalston's got quite a few.
Yeah, Daleston's,
women's
but
places.
in Melbourne, there is no dyke-specific places to stay.
Now, tourism. Let's get on to tourism.
You've all worked. Quentin's worked too before he was a senior bureaucrat ripping off the public, unlike us that do working class blue collar jobs.
Oh, yeah.
Like that
Very,
scumbag.
very.
But no, seriously, tourism. You had this whole thing about, you were just meat on the scene.
Oh, well, we were talking before, the guys who've been air stewards. I was a bellboy, believe it or not, in an American hotel. And you get these things where guys will just come up to you and, like, the tip's a bit bigger than usual. I mean, Americans have this habit of, like, excuse me, but sticking their hand in their pocket, and you sort of got to stand there for a while they sort of pull it out and peel it off. The money, I mean. But you were talking about getting handed checks on the, was it in the aircraft?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
How much?
Oh, it just varied, depending on how desperate the person was that wanted you to go home with them.
So, Dave, I got a bit of colour in my skin, went to the gym every day, got a body like that. I could get given checks that didn't. That's fantastic.
We'll do this, Drew. Drew and I go into this one.
But the other thing about, like, this region, I think, as the region's opening up, like this weekend, I think is, or last weekend, I'm not sure what week it is, this Monday night, but it was Bangkok Gay Pride, and I noticed that there's a lot of people coming from Hong Kong, from Singapore, from Australia and so on to that, just as a lot of people come to the Mardi Gras in Sydney. And so it's, the two of them are becoming like real regional events
So,
in that sense.
boys, are you feeling threatened, you American and English, that we don't need your money anymore?
You still need our money.
Oh, 'cause you are such an American, we still need
And we
your
need your
money.
television and we need your culture.
Yeah, fabulous
Absolutely.
All right, this is about tourism, boys.
Hey,
I
can
know,
we go
yeah,
to
I know.
America
My
and be
mind
killed
does
on a fence
wander.
post too? Oh, what a great place, those fundamentalist Christians. We
That's
need
why
Christians.
I'm not there, okay?
Yeah, exactly. But do you ever go to Asia yourselves?
I have
Heaps. I've been there heaps.
You're in it now.
Well, we are part
in
of
a
Asia.
sense, absolutely.
It's absolutely true. Now, we're going to have to get out here soon, but something else Bruce brought up before, and that was this thing about a lot of people come to Australia for Indigenous culture. And before we go to a comment from Frank, Quentin, do a free ad.
Okay, the Out Black fundraiser is on the Christmas show. Out Black is Victoria's gay and sister girl Koori, or Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander group. It's on at the Star Hotel on the 9th of December, 8:15.
What day's that,
for $5.
Quentin? Is that a Friday or a Saturday?
Saturday night.
Good question.
It's a
I don't
Saturday
know.
night.
It's a Saturday night?
International Human Rights Day, the next day on
That's
Saturday
right,
the
10th
10th.
of
So
December.
if you want to meet a really nice curry boy, yeah.
So, 9th of December.
Oh, how disgusting.
Oh, I
Out Black
can't
fundraiser, Star Hotel, $5.
Good cause, yeah.
It's a really good event according to Vic Perry at VAC.
Okay, brother, that's enough. That's Robbie's boyfriend on that camera over there. That's why he was shooting Quentin. Now, you said people came, Bruce, to Australia, particularly to Melbourne, to Koori heritage, Koori culture.
Well, we have a lot of excellent cultural things happening. the Melbourne Guide says within it how much, a number of different Koori things that people can go and visit and see. You can walk through our botanic gardens and be shown a lot of the culture, what happened in this area before. By Kooris.
Yeah, okay.
You go to Galena Beak, which is just outside Hillsville Sanctuary, the gates, and they've got excellent walk through the bushes and understanding how they grew their various plants and whatever they need for medicinal
It's all very
purposes.
cleaned up for the tourists though. In Melbourne, like in the museum, you can go to the museum, they're so proud of the fact they've got this Koori or Aboriginal Cultural Centre and stuff like that, or there's Aboriginal artwork you can buy if you go down Burke Street. But where are the Aboriginal people? I mean, coming from Adelaide, admittedly I come from the western suburbs there, so maybe
You don't see them
prejudiced,
weekend.
but you don't see many Aboriginal people here.
I'm a bit
But
prejudiced,
I
but I
would
see
say-
like in Fitzroy.
I would say, because I know quite a few of the Aboriginal people who are involved in those, like the Koori Heritage Walks, ATSIC Commissioners and the museum thing, they'd never say everything's perfect, but having those sort of things is something that they've really worked on and they run themselves and they're really professional about it, so it's really important to them. So you sounded like you're knocking it. I don't think you meant to, but
No.
like it's really important that it's there.
It's good to have that there, but it's also got to be a realistic way where the tourists get to see how maybe the majority of Aboriginal people really are living, like in really poverty-stricken circumstances.
Yeah, now you're right about that, Frank. We're going to be going very shortly, but on that level, do people think that we're open in the gay and lesbian queer scene to welcome international people here, or are we still too racist?
We're not using the web enough to... Oh, racist, sorry. I was going to go...
Go on to your website, like
Going on to the web stuff, that we haven't got specific websites that where gay and lesbian people from overseas can get in touch with local people and learn about the place. We answer quite a few at home through
So another business opportunity from Bruce McNicol, a gay and lesbian website.
Anybody can
and
do it.
a Melbourne gay map that we used to have many years ago.
That's right.
We don't have one anymore, so you little capitalists at Satellite Media, one of our sponsors as well, or even Out magazine as well, Shane, a gay map of Melbourne. So website, we're not using that. What do the women use?
There's the Lonely Planet. I mean, a lot of people do research anyway before they go travelling, or if they know they're going to enter a city. You know, like me, first thing I want to find out is the scene. You know,
Well, do you think
maybe
we're welcoming
or
enough in
something.
Melbourne?
I think so, yeah.
But do you think we're welcoming enough to Asian or African dykes as well? What do you reckon?
Yeah, well,
Nope. Go.
not for
Yes
me.
and no.
Well,
Go.
I suppose I can't comment on the dyke scene, but I'd say on the gay scene that I think we're very open to multicultural people.
Well, I don't know. I was talking to a bunch of Kooris here last night, and they were saying exactly the opposite.
Really?
That's what I think. I think every culture except the Aboriginal culture
Yeah.
is like welcomed in the community.
Yeah,
But it's
I
also
think there's specific attitudes to Aboriginal people that are held separately from
Yeah.
the rest of the world, and
Yeah.
that's something very specific to Australia.
Now, what about WA?
They're everywhere.
Absolutely. They're everywhere because there are more blacks over there for very strong reasons. Now, have you two boys, have you come across a fly as Australian Indigenous?
I've hardly seen.
The closest thing I'm going to get to a love life.
Shut up. Do you boys, have you come across many Kooris
No,
or
not
Murrays
at all.
in the Australian scene?
I have, but it was not in the scene. I've had like organized, lectures from them and things like
A
that.
tour to see an Aborigine, that's very good.
And or just demonstrations, things like
Right, but you,
It's one a
that. But
week.
I haven't seen it. I
See
don't
one
think I've
a
seen
week.
too many on the scene.
you have it on the scene.
No.
Yeah.
Come out the back
Over
bar
the last
here on a
couple of
Friday
weeks.
night.
I think Melbourne's more accepting. Doesn't matter what culture, gay, lesbian, what nationality, whatever it is. Melbourne is far more accepting than any other city I've been to. I think.
You know what's a big
I
scene in
see more
Sydney?
Aboriginal here.
And we're
Maori
friendly.
guys.
Yeah,
Maoris are
Maoris are big. Listen,
big
guys, I think
group in
I'm
Sydney.
being wound up here. I'm not really too sure, but we'll be going out very shortly. So before we go, thank you very much. We try to do something on gay tourism, get a bunch of disparate losers who wanted a free drink at the end of the show at the Peel because they're travellers, but that's okay. Thank you for blah, blah, blah. All of you have been so deep and meaningful. We really appreciate it. It's Monday night. We're going to continue drinking at the Peel Hotel. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Wave, you travellers.
More like the Brady Bunch.
your
area.
booze. And your booze.
You're a lesbian. You're in trouble, well and truly, aren't you? And Bruce, you didn't massage one person the whole time. We're very impressed by that.
Do you reckon we can get the text to do one of those sort of things where
We
you
know what
sort of
they're
look
gonna do.
up and down and
Oh yeah, the Brady
everybody's
Bunch.
The Brady Bunch.
Oh, what was that Johnny Young song? How did it go? Close your eyes and I'll kiss you. Tomorrow I'll kiss you. Yeah, wait. We'll do that kind of shit. I think we're just about out here.
I think we need to sing Graeme to the Melbourne Wankers.
Oh, no.
I thought this was Melbourne Wankers.
This program is proudly brought to you by the Peel Dance Bar, corner of Peel and Wellington Streets, Collingwood.